Welcome to a fine night of review, wrestling, entertainment. Tonight we have a great card for you fans. The Intercontinental Review Champions of the United States of America. Slightly Idiotic Productions coming in from the red corner. He is the Quebecian Cuteness, the French Fury. He is 1, 2, Noboku. And his tag team partner coming in at a weight of 282 pounds, the Hispanic Havoc, the Celtic Chaos, and the one guy you don't want to show up at the family reunion, Jarek D. Jackass.
You know, that was an intro that I couldn't say better myself. Oh yeah, you got it all right there. But I'm gonna tell you, there's gonna be things here, and there's gonna be things there. And I'm gonna drop this in a moment because I don't wanna talk like this the entire time. Yeah, so give me a oh yeah. Let me see if that gets copyrighted, folks. But yes, basically, Erichs wanted to do that intro for a while, and the reason is because we're sort of taking another detour. A real quick thing here: we were supposed to probably do this weeks ago, but we got sick. Other stuff got in the way. Busy with stuff. So yeah, this is probably a review that's 3 weeks overdue. But we apologize about that one. But basically, it was a new film when we went to see it, but it's a newer film now, since it's been out for a while. The Iron Claw, a wrestling movie based off the Von Erich family, and this is basically all I will say about it, because if we ever do a play-by-play review for this, he's probably going to need a lot more medicine, and I'm probably going to need a box of tissues, because it was a... And our dog is doing weird things behind us. But, what... Okay, he's going to lay down. All right, I thought like maybe I'll have to edit this part out because maybe need to go outside, but apparently he did it. But yeah,
it's apparently about Hockey the Heart Heenan's trying to coach us from outside the ring.
But yes, it is about the Von Erich family. It does focus on an integral member of the family, Kevin, believe it or not, played by Zac Efron. I was very shocked about that.
Yeah.
And it follows basically not only Kevin, but the whole Von Erich family through their highest of highs to the lowest of lows of, family drama, conditioning, pratfalls, loneliness, depression, and an apparent curse that a lot of wrestling fans believe, which I didn't know much about, but I had, Jarek and both Zombie JLT1 tell me about, and it was interesting to learn. And I have to say that, basically for this film, it's good. It's a tearjerker. I mean, it is a tearjerker, and I have to say, I wouldn't know where to start or to stand with this film, but I have to say, basically, I mean, he's probably got a few scenes I'll tell you about, but if I had to give you a really quick thing about it, because there's just too many to name, an overall encompassing good story of the family. The brothers were very well interconnected, and they loved each other so much. Whenever you saw the highs, they were there for each other. And again, much like the Rocky movies, the wrestling in this movie is almost like a secondary thing. This is more about the family and what they went through. And overall, well, I'm going to say other than Fritz, because, and again, I'm pretty sure you probably passed on by now, Fritz Von Erich, but I'm sorry to say this. If you were anything like the movie depicted, you're a bastard. So, yeah, you're a piece of shit. Like, I know, like, what we talked about with Zombie, where the mother was a little scared and a bit of a pushover, but you could tell the mother cared about her sons. And I didn't blame her, because I knew deep down she really cared. The brothers cared about each other. And whenever those bad things happened, you felt it. And again, you saw many things that the wrestlers go through. Depression, drugs, and believe it or not, to give you a little hint, and not to ruin it for anybody, but like I said, it talks about the family's ups, and 4 brothers died, but we learned from Zombie that they didn't show one of the brothers. I think they said it was, Chris Von Erich, because I guess Chris Von Erich died way too closely similar to the way Carrie did, suicide.
Yeah.
So, suicide the same way, by killing each other, by shooting through the head. Sorry, I know I said I didn't want to spoil things for you guys, but yeah, that was rough. But I guess they didn't want to do it twice. Who could blame it? Because seeing what they did in the movie was hard enough. But, you know, great tale of family, great tale of stuff, going through what the family goes through, you know, wrestling, depressions, drugs, habits, just getting kicked down, worn out, you know, also scheming. Let's just say from the sounds of it, Fritz von Erich was not that different from Vince McMahon. Again, if the film was to be wholly believed and that was factually accurate, and you know, like again, very good message I would have to say in a wrestling movie about faith and God, because that whole ending scene.
Oh yeah.
That was something. I'll tell you that much. Like,
believe me,
just thinking about it right now, I'm getting all misty about it. But and I will say, for a wrestling fan, another thing I'll mention quickly. See, this is why I'm saying there's too many scenes, because there's too many great things to mention. As a wrestling fan, they did a great job on all the wrestlers and recreating wrestlers from yesteryear or the past. Fabulous Freebirds, Harley Race, Bruiser Brody. There were a few other guys we recognized, but we couldn't figure out who they were. I'll let Jarek rip into him a lot more, but
yeah.
let me bring him up for you guys. And yeah, he's further down here. Aaron Dean Eisenberg. Sean Durkin and whoever did the casting for this movie. I don't mean to shit on the guy's parade, but terrible. Aaron Dean Eisenberg was a terrible, terrible Ric Flair. And why were his eyebrows black? Ric Flair, I believe, has had black. You know, actually, live on air, let's double check that right now. Let's see what color Ric Flair's eyebrows are. Let's see. Let's go to DuckDuckGo because I trust them. Ric Flair.
Hey, maybe he just accidentally went Super Saiyan 3 and it
yeah, it's like, oh, okay, no, you can kick my ass for that. Yes, his eyebrows are black, so okay, they got one thing right about the guy. Well, one thing, because yeah, you can even see it in that one right there. They're black. They're not.
Well, except for the fact that they had him as a blonde, and he's more of a platinum blonde.
Well, you know what? Yeah, because that's not complete black. That's like my. So his hair was completely blonde, but his eyebrows were blonde like mine. So yeah, maybe that is a little bit of a continuity error still. Because yeah, those eyebrows aren't. Well, let's look. Oh, well, here's a good shot right here. Yeah, you're right. They're actually regular. They're still somewhat blonde. You're right. So know that was a gaffe. His eyebrows were a gaffe.
They're dirty blonde, like his ring, like his attitude in the ring.
Yeah. Oh, but also I'll call that one out right now. I know you had Kevin Von Erich in the movie Wrestle Ric Flair for the NWA Championship. He had the WCW Championship on hand, guys. I don't mean to be a nitpicky wrestling fan, but if you know wrestling and you know NWA, WCW, WWE, that was the WCW Championship.
Yeah.
NWA never had that. Because remember, Ric Flair wrestled for NWA till the early 80s, and then by mid-80s to late 80s, he was already in WCW, you know, fighting with that title. And unless maybe WCW took that title from NWA, but I'm pretty sure, because I'm looking at a picture of it, that's Ric Flair holding the World Heavyweight Championship of WCW. And again, I will say this, guys, if anyone wants to leave something in the comments, if that title did belong to NWA, because the thing is, for over the 80 or so years NWA's been in contention, I don't think their title's changed. I think they've updated their title, but I don't think the look of it has ever changed. It's always been the 10 pounds of gold, which is a historically great belt. So, nitpick there. And also, Aaron Dean Eisenberg, terrible Ric Flair. But that's basically mine. Jarek, go.
And as for my nitpick with Mr. What's his name again?
Aaron Dean Eisenberg.
You get no woos for your performance because you came off looking way more like, what's his name? Adam Warlock from the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. In fact, in the theaters, I told him, I'm just waiting for him to yell at Rocket Raccoon. Get back here, Raccoon.
Well, to be fair, Jared, to just interrupt you for 1 minute, I will give Aaron Dean Eisenberg this. He had Ric Flair's body type. He had his musculature. But, and he had the hair. He had the hair. But the face, eyebrows, and the title he had, and the voice,
Well, and I told him, it's like, you look like you were trying to go for a Ricardo Montalban suntan, and you blew it. Like, maybe a little too much sunscreen, maybe not enough, who knows? Hey, maybe next time ask Zonker Harris for advice on how to do that. Because, he got into a suntanning competition run by Alexander Hamilton in the 80s, and he won, using Sonny Bono's suntan. I know, Doonesbury, who cares? Who gives a shit, right? But,
if anyone remembers Doonesbury.
But I have to admit, other than that, I'm just going to do it like this. It was a really good performance, and let's just hope Mr. McMahon is not listening, because one of my favorite moments was when Chavo came out as the Sheik. And for those of you who don't know, they're related.
Yeah.
Technically, yes, by marriage. Who gives a shit? But, it was a great moment. It was a nice homage to the family.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, who the fuck doesn't love Chavo Guerrero?
Yeah. Well, again, you couldn't see him because, like we said, he was covered by the Sheik hijab. You couldn't see him. And then, that's where Holt McCallany, who played Fritz von Erich, who was great as the father, by the way, came in and just decked him. And he's like, and out he goes.
And I gotta say, like, out of everything that shocked the fuck out of me, when he pointed out to me, that's Zac Efron, I'm like, High School Musical? Zac Efron? Literally, we're in the theaters, and I'm like, that Lou Ferrigno looking motherfucker in the tidy whities, that's High School Musical?
Well, before you continue, before I let you continue, why don't we give all of them the due credit right now? Okay, so they have it in alphabetical order. Well, we're trying to do it here. Holt McCallany, Fritz von Erich, Maura Tierney, Doris von Erich, the mother. Let's see, young David, young Kevin, Zac Efron, Kevin von Erich, Harris Dixon, David von Erich. Let's see, where are you here? Sorry, it's alphabetical order, guys. Oh yeah, Stanley Simons, Mike von Erich. Where are you here? Oh, no, that's Harley. Wait, oh, there we go. Jeremy Allen White, Kerry von Erich, and then. Oh yeah, did we already? Oh yeah, there was Mike, and then. Oh yeah. That's pretty much all the Von Erichs right now. Oh, and there it is. Brady Pierce, who did Michael Hayes, and another great guy who had that look down. Basically, minus Brady Pierce, there, guys. That was the whole main cast, and they were very all great. I know I missed. Where is she? Where is? Oh, is that, oh, yeah, there it is. And then Pam, who played, I guess you could say Pam Von Erich, who played Kevin's wife, Lily James, also very good. And everybody was, I mean, I know we say this for quite a few films, but this was a film where everybody was great. Everybody in the family, in the immediate family, was just great. And it was, for me, it was actually great to see Holt McCallany playing the father and Maura Tierney playing the mother, because I hadn't seen them in anything in quite a long time.
And hey, I'm about to do a fucking Eddie Guerrero heel turn. That's right, baby. Face reveal. So I have to...
It isn't working, is it?
Nah, not really. It's not the same without the mask.
Go ahead.
Nobody cared until I put on the mask. But for me, like, I have to say, like, when I found out it was Zac Efron, I had less than no expectations, and dear God, Team MVP all the way. This man, he needs more work. I don't even give a shit what he chooses. I want to see Zac Efron in everything now, because his performance as Kevin Von Erich is amazing.
Mm-hmm. Like, look, performance.
Yeah,
he had everything down well.
And I know this is a joke only most wrestling fans are going to get. He may never have gotten the gold in the ring You got the golden life, Mr. Kevin Von Erich, and you got the gold in this movie because you got Zach Efron, who, frankly, came out of nowhere and totally Commander Shepard this shit, man. He was the show.
Well, and to go off you there really quick again too, Kevin Von Erich, we got to give enough credit to, because I guess Kevin Von Erich, from what Zombie told us, was the guy they went to do this, and he agreed to it. And again, there was all these things, and like we said, there was some stuff they had to change around because of other family members dying very close to how some of the other ones did,
Yeah.
and then other things. So again, really hard. But the fact that this was even made at all, because remember, like I was telling him, and I'll just say one more thing about this. I was telling him, wouldn't it be interesting if we get a biopic of Benoit's life leading up to his tragedy for his thing? But I have a funny feeling WWE is probably never ever going to allow that ever.
Like that or Eddie Guerrero, because God help me, we need the Latino heat, baby.
I have got to agree with you, Jarek. Why has there been nothing on Eddie Guerrero?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, he's still on the the nice kid list for Vince, right?
Well, yeah. Again, if Vince matters, because again, since we're talking about a wrestling movie, guys don't know if you heard, but Vince, they gave him his walking papers finally at WWE because of his scandal crap.
I mean,
Nice
hey,
going, Vince.
only took you assholes 40 years to get his ass out the door, you know?
Little too long, but yeah. Keep continuing, Jarek.
But
Anything
yeah,
going
this
on here?
I have to hand Kevin Von Erich, the real Kevin Von Erich, a metric shit ton of credit because, and also Zach Efron, because these scenes they hit hard, and having to relive that trauma for a movie. I mean, just to give you an idea, Fried Green Tomatoes is based on an actual story of a real family. It's an actual real biopic of a family.
I did not know that.
Oh yeah, and here's the most painful part. Like when they were filming it, there's a for those of you who don't know, like one of the daughters winds up in a coma and she never comes out. The mom, the director told the mom, we can stop filming so you can leave, and she's like, no, I want to stay here and I want to wait just to see her get out of that bed. God bless you, woman. Kevin Von Erich had to deal with that 5 times over.
Mm-hmm.
And some of those deaths, I will not sugarcoat this for you. I've had family members die that way. I have had friends from high school die in some of these ways. I have known people who have had all this shit happen in their family, and yeah, pretty much all of it's happened in mine too. For Mr. Von Erich to be able to do this movie, I gotta say, he has a heart way too big for any human. He's got to be an angel.
Well, again, to know, to get again, I know we're not spoiling everything, and we won't tell you what led up to it, but basically, David died of a ruptured intestine. But again, he was taking drugs, probably for pain. But there was a part, like a few scenes before he died, where you see a syringe sit next to him on the bench, and where we saw him inserted into his thigh. And then little does he know, when he's in Japan trying to get a match for the NWA Championship, his intestines rupture and he's killed. And then sadly, Mike had a bad injury. He went into a deep coma with a fever, came out mentally, not completely fit. He was still there, but his same mental capacity was different.
Yeah.
And sadly, suicide. And Kerry, who was taking in all that with all his other brothers, sadly, suicide when he went bad. Because I never knew he was wrestling on a bad leg. I know my friend Zombie said he lost his leg. I thought that was right after he left WWE. But no, when he was still in NWA and when he went to WWE, yeah, he was wrestling with only one good leg, and the other was a prosthetic he was using. So, again, credit to you, Mr. Kerry Von Erich. May you rest with the angels, and the fact that you wrestled for your last years, even in that condition, baller. But I mean, yeah, that was Kerry's, to me, was the toughest. I mean, they were all bad.
Quick, Boku.
Sure.
I'm taking you in.
Gotcha. No worries, dude. Yeah, but I'll just say, guys, Kerry's was the most difficult, because, I mean, it's like you wanted to believe he would make it. You wanted to believe that
Okay, here we go.
that he would do well, but it's like, yeah,
I mean,
hey.
just to kind of give you an idea of how hard this must have been. There's a scene, I believe it's when Kevin Von Erich is getting married, and as I think Carrie goes to the bathroom, and you see him absolutely just blowing bloody chunks in the toilet.
Yeah, that was David. Yeah.
David, and
David. Yeah.
he's talking to David, and it's like, what's going on? And it's like, I need to call you to a hospital. It's like, nah, man, I got this. It happens sometimes. Well, the thing is, we know he's doing drugs. I mean, come on, bloody chunks on that level at a toilet. At a family gathering. That's
wedding, his wedding.
But what makes it worse is, like, just to give you an idea, there's a scene later on where I think it's Carrie. You see him popping damn near a whole capsule.
No, that was David.
David.
Or no, Mike.
Mike, where Mike's popping pretty much an entire capsule. Now, we don't know what it is, but given the time period, it was probably some form of downer or a stimulant that produces a downer effect, similar to something on the level of, like, Ritalin, for instance.
Juan, remember that.
Also, I can kind of verify this. I've seen him lose his shit under these circumstances. Anything lower than 60 degrees, he's going to start losing his shit hard. Anything lower than 30 degrees, you might as well just put him out of his misery. He hates the cold. He tells me one of these lorazepam 1 milligram pills, and he can sit around half naked in 30-degree weather, no problem. Probably because it accelerates his heart rate, his blood's pumping way faster, and it's feeling like a goddamn furnace inside. Now, this is the more modern lorazepam. This ain't the 1980s stuff, okay? I know this is going to sound crazy given some of the shit we've known about for the last few years, but even now, this is still safer than anything they were taking in the late 70s and 80s. And if they were popping a whole capsule with alcohol, that means they were probably trying to come down off of something they took for the match that was way harder. Now, you can get away with that when you're young, but, wrestling fans will remember that kind of stuff caught up with a lot of guys. Bobby the Brain Heenan, Jake the Snake Roberts. Diamond Dallas Page did a long recovery process, and he's helping other guys. But an entire capsule of this shit at 1980 strength, you do not want to fuck with this and down it with alcohol.
Well, remember, from what we learned from the film, I think we all knew that David, wanted to end it because he didn't feel the same. Because he was never really the wrestler type. He was into music and things like that. But I guess he wanted to do it for what happened to David. And, yeah, he got injured. And
as much as I hate to say it, this really is something you can blame on the dad. Like, you can see the dad was always obsessed with being the top guy. It's like, every moment in the movie, it's like, you're going to be the one to bring the belt home to this family. It's like the Von Erichs are finally going to get their recognition. He's kind of like those pageant moms, It's like, my daughter's going to be the most beautiful. She's going to win this pageant, and it's finally coming home to our family.
Well, and remember, to just irradiate off your point there, like we found out in the movie, and Zombie even confirmed with us, Fritz had all of his sons on a ranking system, and they were on that. And again, like Jarek was saying, it was all about the title for him. It was all about the accolades, getting everything huge and big. You even see that right at the beginning of the movie where he was saying, because he has a new type of 1950s, 1960s Cadillac, and his wife is saying, how did you afford this? How did you get it? And he's like, well, this is what you have to do. It's what I do, and it has to get that. And then it's when Carrie, David, and Kevin were in a tag match, and they won the tag match, and Mike was even there for support of him. Fritz got on the thing saying to NWA owner, former owner, Ben Mushnick, may he rest in peace too, I think he's no longer with us. He got on to Ben Mushnick saying, you denied me, you're not going to deny me or this family anymore. And I was telling them, from what I remember from the tales of Ben Mushnick, I don't think he wanted to hate the entire Von Erich family, but because of how Fritz was, he was not going to let any of the Von Erichs near that title, because he knew this isn't you guys wanting it. This is your father Fritz. And again,
Yep.
in watching that movie, I said, given how I heard that, I could probably understand why Ben Mushnick let Fritz von Erich go in the 60s or 70s, whenever that was, because he was a narcissistic piece of crap. Like, because he thought, no one's going to be better. And then, they do end the film saying the Von Erichs are one of the most famous families in history, but you guys are good, but again, best complete wrestlers ever.
Well, and the funny thing about it is, even in that scene, the announcer guy is telling him, it's like, that's a pretty bold move, calling out the organizer of the NWA. Are you sure this is a good move? And he's going full braggadocio. It's like, this is what you have to do if you're going to prove you're the best of the best, and nobody's better than the Von Erichs. And there may be some level of truth at that time. The Von Erichs were pretty much America's answer to the Hart family. But with an attitude like that, you're going to get nothing but enemies.
Oh, yeah, that was both, they have him here, because there was a guy Scott Enos is the ring announcer, and then I think he was also a ring announcer, plus he was one of the commentators and producer, Bill Mercer, who was played by Michael J. Harvey, who I thought was another good role, because his was definitely a smaller role, but they had to be a part of the main cast, and I even think for Bill Mercer, for him, because like I said, I believe Bill Mercer was a real person, but like Bill Mercer, I think he even knew that Fritz was because that's the other thing Fritz did. He cooked the books for his WCCW company, and he was making way more money than they were actually bringing in, which means he was loan sharking his own money, keeping it for himself, making sure that his family had their fame, because believe it or not, Kevin calls him out on it when him and his sons and Fritz and Kevin are watching the 1991 SummerSlam where Kerry Von Erich won the Intercontinental Championship, and Fritz flies off the handle and he says to Kevin, don't question me, you're in your 40s, you had your shot, you blew it, don't question what I did, and even when Kevin's trying to finally get his life in order at the end, you actually see let me bring him up too, because I know he mentioned everybody, but they also had Jeff Jarrett's father, Jerry Jarrett, who was the owner as, there it is, Terry J. Nelson as Jerry, Terry J. Nelson, who played Jerry Jarrett, and, he was a great role too. You really didn't get a good look at his face, but I said, yeah, that looks like Jerry Jarrett, Jeff Jarrett's father, and, Jerry said, your father tried to have me come over to his ranch and stop me from signing away this company. And, it's like, he's like, well, you know what? We're dying, Jerry. I think you'll treat our guys in good hands, because he's like, hey, for right now, I'm out, I'm done. And that was the other thing that was hard in this movie, too, that I'll touch upon, that we haven't mentioned, too. Seeing Kevin you already mentioned it, Jarek, so yeah, you already beat me to that punch, but yeah,
Sorry about that.
No, not your fault. So I said the wrong thing. I'll reiterate your point. What Kevin went through, like Jarek said, it had to be tough, because he was going through a tough time, depression, not wanting to give up wrestling, going through things, and believe it or not, me, Zombie, and Jarek all said that we believe his wife, Pam, got him out of the funk, because if she didn't, he would have been right there lockstep with his father. But I mean,
because there's a great line early on that really encapsulates just how destructive this man was to his own family, where, as Boku said, it's like, I have you boys on a ranking system. Right now, Kevin's at the top, but there's always room for him to either move down or for someone to move up. And I mean, I know people think it's, a good idea when you got multiple kids. Hey, let's pit them against each other, get that competitive juice flowing. That shit is straight up fucking poison, especially in sports families, man. That shit hurts. And you can see Kevin had a really, the depression really started to hit him when he couldn't. And that's the thing, like, kids are going to go at it for the parents' affection. Like Mike, for instance, the one who liked music. he kind of knew he was never going to get his dad's love because he wanted to go in a different direction. And eventually, I think it was after one of the deaths, or maybe two of them, I kind of forget. It's like, he's like, you know what? I could step up, Dad. I could be in the ring. And he has Kevin start training him to be in the ring. And you can see Kevin is very apprehensive about it. He doesn't want to do it, but he knows he's not going to talk Mike out of it. Mike is now trying to impress his dad.
Mm-hmm.
He knows how this goes, so he does. He steps up. He trains the kid, and he tries to be as as good of a trainer as anyone could be. But it's like throughout the movie, you can slowly see each heartbreak, just every death, every tragedy, just and every one of them has it too. Like, Mike, he's having trouble getting his music noticed. Some of his friends kind of move on or pass away. And then seeing his brothers die gets to him. You have like Carrie. Carrie gets into drugs pretty early on, and
yeah. Well, also he had a shot at the Olympics that was taken from him,
and it was one of those. It was I forget which one, but it was the controversial one where we basically backed out of the Olympics.
Oh, because it was Iran or Russia Russia. Yeah, it was Russia because it was Jimmy Carter, late 70s, 79. So that was when we were still in the height of the Cold War.
Oh, and I think that was also after the that one Olympics where they had like the assassination in Munich, if I remember.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I mean, again, Kerry was an Olympic level athlete. This was going to be his chance to be on the world stage. That got taken away, so he went hardcore to wrestling. He lost his leg.
Right after winning the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, by the way. But again, like I was telling Jarek, as he's talking about it, I think like he said, he lost his leg because he was on a motorcycle, lost in a motorcycle accident, and they never showed it, but it was just like the look on Kerry's face when he was doing it, he didn't know where to be at. But I think it's like how I was telling Jarek and Zombie, Kerry in his mind said, I took something from David. This was David's. This doesn't feel right on me, and he probably couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
Because he's saying this should have been David's. Because the brothers were that connected. Plus, there was a great part where, knowing the family's spiritualism, is where when Kerry wins the NWA Heavyweight Championship, there's actually a scene as, I know some people would have thought it weird, but the mother was watching the match on TV, and then you saw where David was sitting at the top of the stairs almost, like his spirit was watching, and the mother looks back and David's gone. I mean, again, me being a believer in God and spiritualism, I thought that was a great touch, because I could believe that happening, because that's what I loved about this movie overall. Regardless of the crap Fritz did to his family, this family was well-knit, well-loved,
and it was
great.
I mean, and it was seeing Kevin's progression, like, falling in love with that girl, him confessing to his brother. It's like, well, we had to hurry it up because we got a little one on the way. It's like, shotgun wedding, you dog. Because, yeah, they basically had sex before marriage, and I guess Kevin's just that straight of a shooter, huh?
Oh, God.
And I mean, but then like the death starts happening, and because of the rumor of the curse in the family, Kevin's mind just starts getting darker. And at one point, she's like, Kevin, I need you here with me and the boys. I can't do this alone. And he's just losing himself. But again,
sleeping in his father's office at the WCCW offices, and
But eventually he does finally gets so desperate, he returns to his wife and he begs her. It's like, I need to get away from this. She takes him back. He's with the kids. There's this beautiful scene where he's just watching his boys out running in the yard, and all of a sudden he's just breaking down. They're like, Daddy, what's wrong? Why are you crying? It's like, sorry, boys. It's just, and they're like, it's about your brothers, isn't it, Daddy? It's like, yeah, it is. And they're like, Daddy, come on. Real men need to cry too. It's like, you're already crying. It's like, and he just hugs his boys. Like, I love you guys. And it's a great moment because, like he said, as far as we're concerned, Pam, you saved Kevin Von Erichs' life, and you destroyed the curse by doing so.
Well, I think it was during Mike's funeral where, just like with David's, they didn't cry because Fritz said crying was a sign of weakness, but that's when Pam finally told Kevin that you need to get away from your father. He is toxic for you guys. He's poison. And I mean, overall, it's just, it's a great movie, and it really makes a lot of great accentuating points. And,
And should we talk about it? The three best scenes of the whole movie.
what's that?
Oh, the ones towards the end.
Well, no, we've spoiled enough. Let's save that for everybody else because we've actually went into deep spoiler territory here. So
Yeah.
let's save that for everybody else who wants to still see this.
But this is a very, almost Kubrick movie with how it handles the relationships in the family and how they all affect everybody. Like, if I had to think of two words off the top of my head that describe Fritz von Erich, it's obsession and it's definitely control.
Well, I got one asshole.
Yep, that works too. Because honestly, like his obsession with getting the title and having control of the company and being the biggest, it's like, and again, in the theaters, I told Boku, it's like, I'm getting some real Vince McMahon vibes off of this dude.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see how much he did not like the rise of WWE. I mean, little bit of sports history for you. Vince was the one who broke the region system with Hulk Hogan's help, so kind of makes sense.
And you bringing that up, I'll just say on a side note, right before Kerry does the deed on himself, obviously it was probably a little after, like a few months after, but right when Kerry won the Intercontinental Championship, I think they're meeting for Christmas, and or whatever it was, and you have what does Fritz say to his son first? So when are you going to get a shot at the World Championship? And it's like that was always on his mind. When are you getting the big one? When are you getting and I'm like, can't. And it's like all three of us said it. Can't you see Carrie's on drugs here? Because he's definitely not all there.
And that's the thing. He probably didn't give a shit if he was on drugs. It was getting that gold.
Well, obviously, like I said too, and I don't mean to throw shade his way, but I also blame Vince McMahon for a lot of Kerry's downfall too, because guys, that's why we said too. Another thing we'll mention just really quick is this is why we'd love to see some more films with a bit of outside, or maybe if WWE's willing to do it, WWE's influence, because there's a lot of shade in WWE, and I mentioned Benoit, Owen Hart, a few others. People like what Bobby the Brain Heenan went through, Kabbalah, some of their older wrestlers. There's a lot of people who were done dirty by WWE. A lot of people.
I'll tell you, like one of the guys I want to see because I fucking love the dude. Yeah, this guy got me back into the DDP hype. In the strangest way too. He basically made Chinese DDP and Dynasty Warriors. I'm like, is he gonna cutter that dude? But in terms of the assholes I want to learn more about, and this has to happen eventually. I want to see biopics on CM Punk, Triple H, Randy Orton, and of course The Rock himself.
Throw Hulk Hogan in there too, because I'm pretty sure everybody would want to get a little more truth out of Hulk Hogan.
Oh, yeah.
Cena, I wouldn't mind, too, if anyone dug up some dirt on Cena, because I like Cena still personally, but from what I've heard recently, I still like the guy, but a little...
But, hey, if you want to get a little of that good Von Erich action for yourself, and you have a PS2...
I'm about to say, here it comes.
Yep. Get yourself Legends of Wrestling 2 because both Kerry and Kevin are in that game.
Oh, yeah. And you know what, guys? Well, basically, I'll just sum up final thoughts because he gave a lot of his. I think that's why I know I interjected a bit too, but this is why I let Jarek have the reins because I knew he was going to have a lot to say as he usually does. But overall, I'll give the final thoughts. We loved this movie. This movie's going on our list for DVD, Blu-ray, whichever one we get it for. I hope it's chock full of special features because I would love a bit more insight. If Kevin wants that to be a thing, if he doesn't, I will respect it because either way, just having this movie on hand would be excellent. But great story, great family dynamic. Really tragic what happened to this family, but also if you believe what it did, because I didn't want to spoil that ending for you, but if you believe what it did, hopefully God does give second chances and nobody rots for something that was truly out of someone's control. Because, I mean, and Lord, forgive me for saying this, and Kevin, if you see this, forgive me for saying this, and I do say this, Lord, because Fritz, I hope when you were at the pearly gates, again, if you are truly dead, if you were at the pearly gates, sir, I hope you begged on your hands and knees for the Lord to let you in, because holy crap, if a lot of this was true, you deserved down there, sir, in hell. Because I know it's dirty, guys.
I'll be as nice.
He was an ass.
I'll be as nice about it as I can be. Kevin and the boys, they will be riding together in heaven. Fritz, you're gonna be riding alone somewhere else. Just saying.
Well, I was a bit more blunt. He was a bit more candid, but direct. But hey. But anyway,
just to give you an idea of how good this movie is, I consider this to be one of the best Christmas presents I've ever been given, and the only movie, in my opinion, to assert both Parenthood and Tokyo Godfathers for best family film of all time.
Now, you didn't tell me that. That is something new. That is interesting.
You have no idea how impressed I am that Zac Efron was in a movie that usurped Parenthood and Tokyo Godfathers.
There you have it, folks. But anyway, these are our thoughts. What are yours? Leave a comment down below and let us know. And again, if any of you guys do any more research on this film or the wrestlers we talked about, let us know. Am I in the right? Am I wrong? Is Jerick in the right or wrong? Or what do you know? Because again, let's get this discussion going.
And hey, Zac Efron looking like Lou Ferrigno in his tidy whities.
Quite so. Well, yeah, he did look like Lou Ferrigno a lot. But either way, this is 012 Boku and
Jerick the Jackass.
Snippadoozum Jim. Oh, yeah.
And just when you think you have all the answers in our review, we change the questions.
Where's the coconut? See you guys.